Getting ready for the next step, they say.
What does that even mean? I heard a priest talking about it when we first arrived.
I don't know. You're the religious man.
They've even turned their back on the Dagda. Who knows what they're thinking?
Well, Nuadans, they become awfully popular. I hear that some of the great temples are paying a tax.
Paying a tax to the king?
No, to the church in Nuada. The silver hand has turned gold, they say. Silver hands turn gold.
I have a gift for you, Clyde. I think you might find it valuable. You can keep it for yourself or sell it if you need the gold or silver.
Are you here for long, Galath? Are you staying?
There are many wrongs I think I'd like to undo, but there are also other worlds that need my help as well.
Other worlds? Yeah. Where did you go? We looked for you after we ran.
I'll have something for you that answers, I think, that question. He's been carrying around a couple of masterwork weapons he hasn't used. He pulls out a masterwork Voslandic longsword at +1 to confirmation.
Just make a page for Clyde and stick some stuff on it. I think actually he probably has a page.
Yeah, he has a page in Galath's backstory.
Probably. Yep.
Yep. So I'm going to give him this masterwork sword that I'm carrying around.
Oh, fancy. It's a southern style.
It's from Vosland. Another world. Of Osgard.
You're doing battle with Voslandic readers. Well, if that ain't storybook.
Indeed.
Yes, doing battle with.
Well, I'm sorry that there was much of a homecoming to come to then.
It's all right.
Oh, I think I buried one pot of moonshine for the occasion.
And he goes out and half-ass tries to dig something up. Ukher ends up going out and helping him, and they dig up two jugs of moonshine. Apparently he just buries things.
Not a bad idea.
Pretty soon you're warming yourself with moonshine.
So, you're following this king around, or is he there following you around?
The lot of us helped him be restored to his rightful place on the throne of his kingdom on another world. It's a long story, but he is an excellent fighter and the best smith I've ever met. And I think perhaps the best smith anyone ever might meet outside of the gods themselves.
King of Smiths, huh?
You know,
you've heard the stories about dwarves.
He's eyeing your hand.
That part, at least, our myths got true.
He's eyeing your hand and your leg.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's had a chance to look at you.
Lost more than just my arm.
Is that a glove?
He holds it out. Look. It's just as in the tales. Nuada's hand, his arm reforged, that he might lead again.
I wouldn't mind me something like that.
I thought you might say that. If Lokrik agrees to it, I'd be willing to foot the bill that have it made for you.
Well, that would be mighty kind of you. I could probably try to learn how to fire one of them sticks, or even use a bow again. That would be nice. Or just have a different hand for a different occasion.
He's making a lewd gesture.
Random cat detected.
They're so civilized. Nalbren. Oberon.
This is civilized. We're talking about.
Oberon blushes at like the vulgarity.
see what we can do about it. We don't have the proper tools here right now, but I'm sure we can find something.
So what are you planning on doing?
I'm afraid I'll have to go see my brother about all this. Though I can't imagine it's going to turn out well. I need to know why he's doing this. I need to hear it from him. Find out if my sister's all right.
What was your sister was captured, right?
She was sort of like under house arrest, it seemed like. She was still out for public appearances, but it was kind of like being... She wasn't allowed to stray too far off the leash kind of thing.
Well, your sister's at the fortress of Nalbren.
Oh, and I think she got married off to somebody.
Yeah, she got married to one of the other kingdoms of Korak, I believe.
Might not. Right, which is where my Galath's mother was originally from.
Yep.
Yeah, she's at the fortress of Nalbren.
Wow. I'll have to go talk to my brother, though I doubt he's going to be happy to see me.
I'm pretty sure that your brother's keeping her ransom. Not so much concerned about the sister, but the kid that she had.
She had a child.
Yeah.
I mean, of course she did, but...
I suspect that gives him claim over the kingdom of Korak, having their heir.
It's a classic maneuver. Many lords have used it before.
Then your sister, well, how do I say this? You hear in the storybooks about the princess in the tower.
Yes, I remember reading such stories.
Well, she's a princess in the tower, I guess.
So much has gone wrong since I left.
Well, yeah, your sister ain't got a husband anymore, because, well, they killed the king of Korak and all of his family.
He killed his family, and they have my nephew's on the throne, ostensibly.
Yep. That's the consolidation for you.
Never thought this would happen.
Well,
then again,
there's also rumors that they tried to send an expedition into the Golden Lake to the Isle of Blood. I would have paid to see that. Let's just say their little boomsticks didn't fare very well against the creatures that live on the island.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but at least it gives me some heart to know that at least they haven't taken over every last bit of this land.
No, they're mostly based in Halidon. I guess it's civilized enough for them. It's also a nice place for their boats. They sit rather heavy in the water, if you ask me.
Yes, they do have large ships, don't they?
And they travel back and forth through the Tarthian Gap. All the way to, well, I don't know, the realm of the lion, I guess. It's just across the street. Never been there.
Yes, where my father died.
Well, that's where all them fancy folk are from. Kinda. It's hard to tell. It's like they're above all of us. They don't even wear armor.
Armor's useless against their weapons, at least so I hear. So why would they wear it? Of course.
Yeah. Them Gons, as they call them, are not happy things, and them fire-breathing boats. Well, that's, I still remember the night when they were chewing people apart.
I do too.
Nalbren.
I'd never heard such a thing. I thought the skies themselves were collapsing on us.
Well, they did march their armies around. They conquered the kingdom of Halidon pretty quick, and then basically, from what I gather, they gave your brother some orders. Said, hey, you. Probably not like that, but Hey, you.
Yeah, he hasn't been around people in a long time, so he's really excited that he's got visitors.
So I say, they said, hey, you.
What is his title? It wasn't king. It was
I thought he was going by king, but maybe it was another duke or something.
Marshal.
Marty, I'm gonna touch him with a heal. Not sure his brain is all there, but this might help.
You guys are just... That's hilarious.
Fix you, sir.
Let's see, backstories. There's a part of the journal where we kept track of this Galath's backstory.
Journal entries for backstories. Let me look here.
The Lord Marshal.
Lord Marshal, yes.
Yeah, he declared himself, or they declared him Lord Marshal of all Nalbren. Well, basically of the island. Did you know we live on an island?
Wasn't certain about this, but...
Well, declared himself Lord Marshal of not only Nalbren, but also the Eastern Wood. I don't know how you're gonna conquer all them barbarians. And the Southern Lowlands. Southern Highlands. All the way from here to Trogaba. Of course, that's a name. He's been busy ever since making it so. Whenever there's a really bad battle, he calls in a bunch of these guys that stand in a big line, and there's lots of smoke and everyone dies.
Such cowardice.
Oh.
Yeah, well, he's a puppet of the lion, that's for sure. This throne something.
I think Bran will have to be our next stop. See what we can do about this.
Well, that's the heart of it. Are you sure you want to go there? He's got a whole cadre of these men. They kind of wear armor, but they don't. They got the sticks, but they don't. Sort of an amalgam of Nalbernese fighting with these smoke weapons. Terrible. There's 100 of them.
If I have to cut down every last one of them to get to my sister and find out what's happened to my brother, I will.
Galath, there's an easier way to get to your sister. Just sneak in and teleport her out.
Well, in the storybook, she lets down her hair. And you just climb up her hair into the tower. Why do I not feel drunk?
Because you healed him. He goes over and starts drinking from the tub again.
Galath, there's an easy way to get your sister. You can just go in and teleport
We
her
did
out.
things your way on the egg. We're going to do things my way on Nalbren. You promised me this would be so. I'm going to keep you to that promise.
I'm just giving you options, my friend.
Yes, there's no need for bloodshed. We could just teleport there. Turn ourselves invisible and go find her. Does your brother have a wizard?
I'm not sure. I didn't stick around to count wizards.
There aren't a whole lot of magicians in Nalbren. At least not that anyone knows of.
No?
The greatest one was Merlin, but I think... Well, to be perfectly honest, I think he was the one who brought us all together in the first place.
That's fascinating.
Merlin? Yeah, I think I got a cousin named Merle.
Well, it is a popular name after his
Hit him with
story.
another heal.
Definitely same guy.
Ruining his buzz. Keep on using 6-level healing spells on him. I heal you, you drunkard.
Just gotta go back to the bar. Well,
6th level magic work here?
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. We teleported. That's 5. Windwalk is 6.
Oh, shit. Windwalk was not cast on this world.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Teleport is 5.
Yep.
Let me have a look at worlds and locations. Nalbren.
Some of the worlds we haven't really been
Limited.
to.
Yeah, your heal spell didn't work.
Interesting. Did it use up a mythic point?
Yep. It just fizzled.
I'm gonna try casting. Okay.
It's like you
interested.
felt like you said the right words and you expended the power and it just.
But we were able to teleport.
Yep.
I'm gonna try cast. I'm gonna go to like the, go outside and try to cast Repel Wood.
What level is it?
6.
Okay, it fizzles.
Oberon. Something of interest here.
Yes, Lemmy-O. What are you doing out there? It's cold.
Certain spells don't work here.
What do you mean?
Well, we were able to teleport, right?
Yes.
But my heal didn't work. It's a 6th circle spell.
Okay,
And
Oberon.
my repel wood, that didn't work either.
Oberon has recently. Let me try something. He goes up to a piece of wood and points a finger at it. He casts a spell. There's just nothing that happens. I just tried to disintegrate this poor branch of wood, and nothing happened.
Try a 5th circle spell.
Okay. Well, our telepathic bond was still working.
But we didn't. Same as my windwalk.
Okay,
But we cast it outside.
he casts a spell, and now know that Oberon knows Wall of Force. As a shimmering wall goes up, and then it's transparent. Once he finishes the casting. Ding, ding, ding. The wall is here.
Right.
Interesting.
This was what, a 5th circle, right?
It's as if spells of a higher tier go plunging into the gulf of nothing. It's like you just cannot make the words here.
Lemmy smiles and Lemmy actually lets out a little laugh. Oberon. We just plane shift. Buff ourselves up with crazy powerful magic. And then just plane shift back.
What level is plane shift?
5.
For you.
We are fucking lucky.
Yep. It could have been a world where only 4ths work.
Right. That's where you get stuck.
There's something stealing the magic. Oh, this requires study. This indeed requires study, and thanks for reminding me of that.
Did we decide mythic or not mythic?
What's that?
When we originally talked about this, like, freaking 2 years ago, one of the things we talked about was whether or not artifacts and mythic powers would circumvent that ability, or those restrictions.
Yeah, you haven't cast any mythic spells, so you don't know.
Okay.
I tried casting Mythic Heal.
No, you didn't cast Mythic Heal.
Use the mythic point to cast
Mythic. Oh, good.
Yeah, but Mythic Heal is a specific type of spell. So you get the ascendant version of heal.
Right, I thought you meant spend a mythic point to. I hear you saying.
Galath knows that there are fabulous things that are done through artifacts of Arthur that are magic beyond what men can possess.
No.
So there's a hint right
Duh, they're clearly the works of the gods.
there. Right, exactly.
The Lady of the Lake didn't just toss that sword out of some bargain bin magic shop.
Okay.
You're gonna go rescue your sister, and then what? You know, the priesthood squabbled a lot in the early days, but
Seems they've come to a sort of
Wait,
census.
hold on a second, Oberon.
Yes.
The spell that the wizard used, or the cleric used in that church, that was a word of recall. That's sixth circle magic.
It is, isn't it?
So how are they able...
Unless it was a teleport.
Arguments with me.
Unless it was a teleport.
No, that was a word of recall.
Could have been a teleport.
Perhaps it's the same thing as ours. They cast it somewhere, they created it somewhere else and brought the magic here.
Curious. They must have found ways around this limitation.
I'm guessing they just went somewhere else and created the magic and brought it back with them. That's the only...
Also, as a side note, you guys just got here.
Around this wizard.
Galath didn't know there was a restriction of magic, so you can't necessarily assume that it's always been this way.
Interesting. This world is, maybe it's this place. We should try this maybe in another spot.
Alright, yeah, sure, that's no problem.
Well, the church, well, they squabbled a bit. I know that some knights disagreed.
Yes, what of the other knights? The priest I spoke to earlier made it sound like they've been exiled.
Well, yeah, some of them have retreated to the kingdoms that hadn't fallen, and some of them joined up with those armies, and, well, then they got failed. Others retreated. There's even talk that some of them actually headed towards some sort of tree.
Do you know where that... Oh, shit, good point. Lemmy's going to do find the path. Oh, yeah.
What levels find the path?
Find the path is... Oh, shit. Right. Find the path is
You didn't think it was going to be that
Right.
easy, did you?
Shit. Yeah, good call. No idea.
Find the path 6, right? Yeah, this world.
Yeah. Yep, can't do it.
Normally only 5th works. Apparently
Give up.
that guy was able to use a word of recall. Some sort of teleportation spell. There are a bunch of them. There's like getaway, teleport, word of recall. I think there's another one that's lower level, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there's some knights that decided to leave. Well, that only made things worse. It's the priests with the things on their forehead you gotta watch out for. They're the ones.
Ancient purity symbol of some sort. They seem like true believers.
They came, they say they came from the land of the lion and even beyond.
What of those who still follow the old gods? The Dagda, Danu, even those who venerate the lady. Converted? Put to the sword? Driven out?
Well, yeah, all them things, yep. Convert and consolidate. It's all part of the same thing, I kind of get. One king, one god. Get ready for the next step.
He says like it's something that has been said 1,000 times.
Such heresy.
Well, yeah, it's happening. It's happening all over the place.
Do you know which kingdoms have yet to fall? Perhaps we could help them.
Well, armies have already marched south into Jarosate. Pretty much. There's just little pockets of them. Of course, they gave pause likely at the Grinning Beard Mountains on account of, you know, manticores live there. I don't think that they fully invaded or even know how to invade the Eastern Wood. Just a bunch of the Zode barbarians. Really good archers. Yep. Oh yeah, the Isle of Wizarding.
Where's that?
Between here and the Archerwood, I think. I got a good look at the map when I was hiding in the castle.
Very well.
You do remember there was a room where there was a big map.
Yeah, I do recall vaguely he was hiding and looking at stuff. Yeah.
No, but Galath remembers from his childhood that there was a big map of Nalbren. You just didn't really study it enough. Like this is your
swords being knight is great.
Exactly.
What's diplomacy? What's geography? I don't care.
Exactly. It's just a big painting of a green thing.
Right.
Knowing where I'm going is my squire's job.
Right. I go where the king sends me.
Surrender.
Yeah, the Isle of Wizarding. Apparently, they sent a bunch of boats there. Not your brother, but like the lion people. They seem to be really interested in some of the things around here. Others are just... They just tell us to follow the priests and the Lord Marshal's will. Who knows who's in charge, really? Convert, consolidate, and get ready for the next step. That's what we're doing. That's what they're trying to make us do anyways. No one's gonna stop them, I guess.
Lokrik, Lemmy, Ukher, Altakar, Oberon. We must free my people.
Let my people go.
Let my people go. Find myself a many-colored cloak. I think that's an item.
And how would we do that?
We must either convince my brother to turn against the masters, these lions, or we must oppose him.
And then what?
And then we stand against them.
Do I get to pick up a boat and throw it at something? Like another boat?
Yes. We are mighty. There are many of them, and they have their smoke powder tricks. They're cowards. They hide from castles they hide in castles that float on the water. And they use weapons at a great distance. When their weapons do not serve them, when they do not work, what will they do? Would surrender or run? When their castles sink below the waves.
You're talking about something that might take us years to accomplish.
Perhaps. I stood with you, regained your throne.
Well, I think there's two things to do. One is stop the flow of the support that they get.
They
That
got
should be doable.
how?
Two,
Destroy all their ships? What?
no, they said
Ukher swims up, Ukher punches the bottom of the boat. Boat sinks.
the boats are not a problem.
An afternoon.
Basically, yeah, he's right.
How quickly can they make boats to compete with an Ukher?
No, question is, where are they getting the boats from?
Who knows?
Boats
Clyde
are coming
says
from
they
the
come
north.
from across the straits, another land.
We can't understand the other guy.
Yeah.
Block, 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 block.
You can. You have tongues up.
Yeah, 10 minutes per level.
So?
Right.
So you've got it for like over an hour.
they come from the north across the straits, you say? Well, we gotta
Yeah,
find
from
out
the
where that
lands of
is.
the lion. The lion's den. Everyone knows that.
Well, you can control that gate. Then you've got. Well, if you control the gate, you control the gate, right?
Quite so.
Ukher put a huge boulder in front of it.
No. We pick up gate and toss it like a big ring. Or we pick
depends.
up gate and move it to where we want.
Depends what the gate is. It might be the ring of the god. It might be a ring of the god. Might be something else.
Could be.
Maybe a ring.
The boats your boats they're speaking of sounds bigger than the rings that we've seen, right?
Yes, the boats they have would not be able to fit through such a gate.
Then it's a different type
Massive, like
of gate.
castles that float on the waves.
Then it's a different type of gate.
And perhaps it's not even a gate. Perhaps it's just from another land that we've never explored. The Nalbrenese were never great sailors.
Well, first thing I say, save your sister and your nephew. Second thing, have a chat with your brother. Third thing's, make sure he has no backup. Fourth thing, Oberon, try to figure out what we can use our magic.
We smash those ships, then we'll be in a better position. They have to have their powder, don't they? It's not like they can fight with just steel.
Oh, yes, they must have way of making it. But likely they do not make it in the same place they make war. They carry it.
Stop them from bringing their powder on their ships. Stop them from bringing their men. Stop them from bringing their fire sticks and their dragon's maws.
Right, control the portal.
If it even is a portal.
If
Simply
it is
stop
a
them from doing it. Destroying the enemy supply line is an ancient trick. Very successful.
Can we steal boat? How much boat worth? Ha ha ha!
Likely a valuable amount. If you could bring it back to the intact to the Voslandians, or Vosguardians, no doubt they would pay a king's fortune for it.
We could do that. Just start bringing them the ships. it'll cost me one.
Here's your Spanish galleon.
Hello.
We know you
It'll
like
cost me
these
4
longboat
spells.
things, but check this out.
It'll cost me
Upgrade
4
time.
spells to
Let's
get
give you
there and back.
400 years of nautical technology in one fell swoop.
One afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll take me 4 spells to bring back one ship.
Capture some people to bring along to explain how everything works.
Let's take
Job's
a ship.
good.
No, we pick up boat and take it.
Certainly.
Or just fly it up and drop it another
the
one.
boat have to be empty. Well, if I pick up boat, it is mine.
I'm somehow doubting that's actually how the laws work.
No, the spells. If I pick up boat, it is mine. You can teleport with me and what is mine.
In terms of the laws, when it comes to
Basically, he's
war,
right.
that which you take in battle is yours. So yes, even legally, he's in the right.
Law of cosmic possession.
Are they still at war?
We will be at war with them, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're all over the staff. You said some knights left to the tree. Which direction is that?
It's I don't know, there's lots of trees everywhere, but the knights that said they were going to the tree decided that they were going, I think, over the end of the druid wall. Yep.
Where's the druid wall?
Well, it's what separates the eastern wood from the kingdoms.
Oberon,
Right.
can you get a picture of the map from our friend Clyde's memory here? That might help us more.
Yes, I could.
Clyde, if you're not averse to the idea, our friend here can see a memory of your vision of the map. That might help us.
Well, alright.
Just think of the memory you wish to show him.
Yeah, okay.
Oberon casts a spell, and then after repeated castings throughout that evening, begins to trace out a map of Nalbren. Look at you guys. Using your noodles. He doesn't know much about the land of the lions, so I'm not going to review all of that. but I'll reveal some of it.
There we go.
And I'll share it with the stream. So you guys appeared
At Churchill.
somewhere over here when you first appeared. Oh, there's multiple Galaths. And then you teleported to Churchill, and then you flew around this northern part. And then if you zoom out, the Isle of Nalbren is much larger than that. The Druid Wall is here. So there's a land bridge between these two larger land masses.
That's why they're having a hard time getting over there, I see.
There's something called the Druid Wall. So these kingdoms apparently have all fallen or are in the process of being consolidated, whereas the Grinning Beard Mountains, the Druid Wall, the Easton Wood, and then the Lothgar lowlands, which are actually where a lot of the ancient Voslandic raiders settled. The Lothgar Highlands and Lothgar lowlands. These are actually like people mixed with Nalbrenese Voslandic blood.
You're going to be very popular in the eastern continent or island, Lemmy. A very familiar accent.
Right.
Hey, Frozen Gnome, welcome. We've finally gone back to the we finally closed the circle. We've gone back to the very beginning of the adventure.
Yeah, you guys are in Vontelstone. You've gone right back to the building where basically you became a paladin, and you've sort of like the hero's journey, right? You go, you become strong, you come back.
Come back, kick ass, yeah.
Kick ass. There's like 6 hero journeys on this in this
pretty much
campaign. And they're learning about how things have gone bad in the last couple of years in Nalbren. Now,
Nalbren, it's double the shit now.
Now they call it Nalbren. Nalbren is this basically big island. Like, you're so self-centered about your own world that you think that Nalbren is the name of the world. But anyways, that's
yeah,
it's fine. So there's the Tarthian Gap with the west and east Tarthian mountains, and then the lands of the Lion are basically to the north. Halidon is just the massive capital, probably the most populated area of Nalbren.
Okay, so is that the seat of power for the Lord Marshal at this point, or is he still in Cairbrand, and that's just where the Lions are setting up their institutions?
What's your opinion on a creature with multiple actions, one with those reactions? I'm assuming 5th ed. So, well, it's the DM's world, so he can do what he wants. If you start to break the rules, though, there should be a good reason for it, in my opinion.
There's a PD shenanigans or 2 there, I think.
Yeah.
When you start breaking the rules significantly and go, hey, here's this weird thing.
So one of the ways where D&D falls apart when you try to have the big boss monster where everyone gets to attack it and there's only one of it, what happens is it gets outgunned in economy of action. And it might have been his way of, or her way of trying to overcome the limitation of economy of action and making a tough opponent.
That's why you have some monster types like Hydras or something where they get a load of attacks, and Hydras make great bosses because it's always,
So I'll play those games a little bit with creatures like Hydras, or creatures that have 2 heads, like an Etten. I might like, if I was feeling really twinky and I really wanted to challenge them, I would play with the economy of action a little bit. Like, Ettins have their attacks, but maybe I'd make it an Etten fighter that has a full round attack with each arm, or something ridiculous like that. But you got to be careful, because economy of action is something that has been thought about very carefully in D&D games, and that's something that can really get out of hand quickly. In Pathfinder with Mythic, they ended up creating a template that allows you to act twice in the same round.
The Agile template.
The Agile template, which it's scary. It is really, really scary to get 2 sets of actions versus.
It's a great template to put on some sort of terrifying mythic boss monster. I mean, it's fantastic in terms of
like I haven't used it yet because I'm
Correct.
saving it.
It nearly doubles the threat of the creature, which is pretty.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Really.
So, am I against a DM doing it? No. Would I want the DM to do it on every monster I fight? No.
Should you be in a room full of monsters like that? No, probably not.
Yep. It seemed like just cuz thing. Well, maybe he's trying it out. So that's kind of a neat question, but it's hard to say. We tend to stick by the rules as written as much as possible, and I let the players read the rules, like even while we're at the game table, and even correct me sometimes. You've probably seen that a few times, and that's fine as long as the game just keeps on going forward, and we could address any sticky stuff afterwards. If I just start making rules up all the time, you have to do it a little bit, but
yeah, you don't want to get to the point where it's ridiculous. I had a long, so I have a story where I did that. I used to play World of Darkness. I used to run World of Darkness, and I ran it enough with people that had played it enough that there was nothing in the game that surprised some of the players anymore. They knew what everything was, and you couldn't really be like, oh, there's this mysterious new monster or whatever. They just be like, oh, it's this thing, or it's that thing, it's this thing, right? And it kind of took the fun out of it, because part of it's supposed to be the mystery and it's whatever. So I had to invent a whole new monster, like out of thin air, to challenge these guys, and because they didn't expect that. But the problem was I kind of just made up this thing as I went, and I had this sort of concept of like, well, it's going to be like this, and here's sort of the background for it, and it's going to have some abilities that are kind of weird and disparate. And it ended up being an interesting monster that they liked fighting, but it was also kind of a frustrating thing that I had to sort of invent this thing for them, and then it was kind of like, it was almost like I had tried to build their kryptonite monster. So you probably want to avoid that. That was a learning experience. Maybe don't do that.
So, it's worth chatting about with your DM maybe afterwards. Just kind of say, hey, that was kind of weird, you playing around with the rules like that, and you might just get the answer of, well, back off, I do what I want. You might get that.
It's also like, if you're going to do it, maybe make some sort of explanation about why it gets all this nonsense.
Well, it's he's definitely trying to make the threat. Like
increase the threat level,
the threat level, which is one of the things you can play with is economy of action, but it's
economy of action. It's like a multiplayer, right? And the more you get to do it, the scarier it becomes, and it kind of escalates very quickly.
Yep. Yeah, well, you can find unbalanced stuff in a lot of systems. Yeah.
To be fair, that I've said that before too, about other games where it's like, well, so some games don't care about balance. World of Darkness is a great example of that. They don't care about balance. There's balance doesn't exist in that game. So what you have to do is, instead of worrying about whether or not it's balanced, worry about whether or not you're being fair to your players. Don't be the DM where you look at their skill sets and then create the enemy that negates every single cool thing they can do. Don't be that guy.
Unless they've made a bunch of mistakes and made a smart enemy and showed them what they could do, and this guy had like.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but it's you don't put your players in situations where they don't get to do the fun thing that they built their character to do. There's a thing called, I forget what they call it, but you look through your character sheet and you kind of see like, he put a lot of points into that skill, or oh, he really built out this particular thing, like this feat chain is going a long way, or he picked this particular merit or whatever. And what that means is that the player wants to do that thing.
Sure.
And if you set them up to fail at that thing because you don't want them to be able to succeed because you can't think around it or something, you're just going to frustrate them into not wanting to play that character anymore. So put challenges in front of people, but don't take away the fun thing that they tried to build their character around. If they built an archer, don't make everyone have deflect arrows or something, right?
I don't think that's what he's saying. I don't think that's what Frozen Gnome's
No.
asking, though. He looks like, it sounds like the DM is basically going, the system's all fucked, so I'm just gonna do whatever, and why bother considering balance? So
Sure. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
maybe he's being a little lazy in how he's amping up the threat level. Hopefully, you got a little bit of extra XP for something that attacks twice.
To be honest, I don't know too much about 5th edition. I know there are a bunch of different kinds of actions now. There are more actions than there used to be, and it's kind of this whole thing. So,
if it's the epic dragon at the end of the campaign, and there's only one of it, and there's a bunch of guys around beating it, yeah, sure, give it some legendary action, or even double its attacks because it's so awesome.
Give it a piece of treasure that lets it do it, or something, or I don't know, some explanation for why it gets to do that, and then give a reward because you buffed the difficulty of the creature, right?
Yep.
Because you ever want to make a creature more, you ever want to take an enemy and make them stronger than they already would be, but then give the reward you would for the weaker version of it, because that's
I'll have to dig later. Remind me later. There was a guy, I forget his name, but I watched a video where he described how he took 4th edition powers and put them on his 5th edition monsters to try to make them a little more memorable and a little bit harder to fight. So I'll send you that link if I can find it again, Frozen Gnomes, because there are other ways aside from economy of action to do this.
Yep.
Okay, so you guys were at Vontal Stone chatting. You used a memory spell to share the memory of the guy's map over multiple times, and then Oberon begins to sketch partially with magic. I guess he could use a prestidigitate to kind of write.
Does he have what is it? Creation? Minor creation?
And then he ends up sketching out a rough map of Nalbren, and this is you actually remember some of the iconography from the map that was painted on the wall of one of the rooms in the Fortress of Kerbrand.
Well, yeah, I hid in there for hours, and I had a really good look at it. Yeah, it looks like that. So you got boats at the Isle of Wizarding, and then they haven't made much of a beachhead into the Easton Wood. And, well, the kingdoms, 3, 4, 5, 5 kingdoms in the Protectorate.
So most of the Pentarchy has fallen then.
Well, yeah. And then there's the Isle of Blood.
There's a reason no one goes there. Foolish outlanders.
Well, Galath, what are we doing here? Where's Yggdrasil?
Must be to the east, beyond the Druid Wall. Great forests dot that part of the island, covering almost all of it. Ancient branches. They say a barbarian people live over there, but if they stand against these gunpowder men, these smoke powder conquerors, then perhaps we can make common cause with them. That would be where I would place my bets on Gig being. But first I must rescue my sibling. See to my family. Confront my brother.
Okay, by this point in time, the wind walk has worn off. Lemmy-O and Oberon seem, for whatever reason, convinced that they're not going to be able to cast it again.
Are you saying your magic isn't going to work here?
Not here, anyways.
Very powerful magic, no. Anything 6 circle above will not... Well, we've only tried 6 circles. Guess we can't rule out 7ths or 8ths. 9ths,
Well,
maybe? Why 6th?
I guess we'll need some horses then. Can't be gallivanting around in the sky all the time, I suppose. Seems to be a lot of damage done nearby. Clyde, where's the nearest village we might buy some horses? If you know.
Well, there's little villages and settlements all along the Squire Step.
Suppose we go that way. Find us some horses. We'll make better time that way. Or I suppose we could take a ship, but...
Why don't you wait till spring? Easier traveling then.
It's true. We don't have a lot of time.
Do you remember the place we were trying to go to? Oberon's eager to share memories with you again.
Oh boy. Yes, I do. But it may be different now. Things have changed. I wasn't there since I was... Well, the last time I spent any reasonable time there was when I was a child. It's been a better part of a decade.
Perhaps this room where this fabulous map was crafted.
Perhaps. Don't think it's a good idea. And I don't want to do it that way. We don't have any idea what we're jumping into.
Then we teleport away.
Basically, yeah. We can prepare ourselves, get ready for a fight.
I'm not relishing the fact of... I'm not relishing the idea of... swinging my axe through your countrymen all the way up to your brother's castle.
It's true.
Also, we need to come up with a way of fighting those stones, those guns, or the cans.
Maybe if we capture a few of the weapons, we can have a look at them.
It's not a bad idea.
Are you worried about doing the honorable thing?
Of course. There's nothing more dishonorable than just sneaking in with magic.
Lemmy's gonna channel energy, see if that works.
Yep, your channel energy works. Although Clyde seems to seems to be impressed by it. Oh,
So he's gonna try the rest of his powers: the hop, the armor brambles, the
your domain powers.
elemental, yeah, the elemental.
Wild shape.
Sorry, wild shape. Sorry.
wild shape works. All the domain powers work.
Okay, well that's good.
Your hop's like a dimension door, so it works.
Supernatural abilities are probably okay.
Okay.
Oberon gives you a nod as he's learning more by watching.
Alright. Everything else seems to work fine. So we can use our extra spells to just prepare our weaker spells.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we'll do. Alright. I suggest we rest for the night and then travel tomorrow.
We're going by foot, by horse. I don't know how we're going to find a horse big enough for you. Altagar.
Well,
I don't need a horse.
What was your movement speed?
60.
It'll only slow you down.
Oh yeah, George, you're good.
I do have an idea. Could you just plane shift and then to cast Windwalk, plane shift back.
Plane shift back to the heavens. Cast Windwalk, plane shift back, and then...
Stop that. We're not going to use the heavens as a freaking, like, bus stop, okay?
Or just teleport.
Yeah, Oberon and Lemmy-O are trying to convince Galath to teleport to where you need to go.
We don't have to fight them. I refuse to believe that every single one of them has been swayed so easily.
Alright. Let me...
Might not be about being swayed. It might be about following the orders of your king.
I know they call him Lord Marshal, but for all intents and purposes, our people would think of him as a king.
Marty, let me prepare a teleport and a spell staff.
Okay. You wander around the snowy area of, let's call this the Squire Steps. You are looking for horses for everyone. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. You go from village to village to village, and you end up finding enough horses after 3 days.
I'm gonna get a horse for myself.
Okay.
Just so I don't have to be popping my
Let's see.
my token on and off all the time.
You find actually a stable of where they're raising war horses.
Cool.
I rolled a d6 and got 6 of them.
All right, how much do I need to spend on horses for the 5 of us?
Galath, I don't need... Yeah, thank you.
Oh, right, for the 4 of us.
There's 6. Oh yeah, you don't need one either.
Though Oberon has his carpet, doesn't he?
Oberon has his flying carpet, so he doesn't need one.
Okay. 3, I guess?
I believe a heavy warhorse is 400 gold pieces.
It's really pricey.
Yeah, with all the tack and everything, we'll just call it 400.
Okay. I guess we'll buy 3, so I'll go ahead and mark that off. 1,200.
Yeah, you make this guy's day as he
3 of your best wall horses, my good sir. Obviously, I look like the coolest knight I've ever seen because I'm wearing an angel for a hat. Coin spent. Horses. 3 war horses with attack and bridle, saddle.
So Birch 3 to 6 is basically you guys hunting for horses or
Sure.
horses. Oh, you're not summoning your.
No, because yeah, because I don't want to be constantly going between having it as a token or not. If you need to teleport, it's probably not a good idea to have it around. If we get ready, we're getting close to combat. I'll bring her out. I'll bring him out. But
Okay.
otherwise, Tordethlon's getting a nice rest.
3 days later, you pass by the ruins of Timberguard, and then you start marching through some very snowy roads around the tower on the mirror.
Galath is telling everyone the story of what happened the last time he was here. And that's when we went down there and we fought a wizard in the swamp.
Okay, you guys were exiting the forest out into the plains when you actually hear crows up ahead in the forest. a whole bunch of them just squawking away.
Happy, what is it?
Alright, we'll take a look.
Okay.